Well,
or that was the foxhole one.
that was the foxhole
Yeah.
one.
This Amateur Radio Roundtable is brought to you in part by ICOM America.
Good evening out there to everyone. This is Amateur Radio Roundtable on W5KUB.com. I'm Tom, W5KUB. We welcome everybody in here tonight, and glad you're joining us. If you're listening out on International Shortwave on 5130, please send us an email. Let us know where you are, how you're hearing the signal. And if you do have internet capability where you are, you can actually join the show. If you just ran across us on the airwaves, you can join the show if you just go to W5KUB.com and just click up in the top right of the right-hand corner where it says live video and chat. And you'll bring up the little videos, and you can watch the show. And you can also join us in the chat room. Today is Tuesday, February 25th. Boy, February is almost over right now. And
That's me, I'm sorry.
I think my sound, I'll turn the volume up. I think someone said my audio was a little low, so we'll turn it up a little bit. Thanks for that feedback there. Anyway, thanks to everyone for joining the show. We've got Rich Mollison with us tonight, editor of CQ Magazine. Katie's back with us. And we're going to bring a special guest in later, Eduard YO3ICT from Romania, to talk about this little wspr tracker that we're building for our next, or one of our future balloon launches. So, how you doing, Katie? And tell us about your weather out there.
Hi, Tom. Hi, everyone. I think pretty much we're all sick of snow.
Are you there, Katie? Katie. Okay, that didn't work out very well. The snow froze Katie. You know? Let's see, Rich, you're still there, right? Okay.
I'm still here because we have no snow.
You had no snow. You're still there. Well, look at Katie. She was starting to talk about snow, and she's frozen. What do you think? What do you think about that, man? What do you think here? Okay, let's see if we can get Katie back on here. And let me add her to the call.
I think I'm back.
Oh, wait, you're back. You're back. You're back. Okay, you're back.
We thought the snow, talking about snow made you freeze.
Oh, man. You know,
Yeah,
that's the problem is our internet, there's all this snow out there, and being able to see to the mountain where the repeater is for the system. So, yeah, I've been having this problem. So I apologize where it's just been dumping me out periodically. So, yeah, so so lots of snow. Thank goodness for a neighbor who came and ran the snowblower this morning in the driveway, and then I finished that off. But it is seriously deep out in the yard. I posted some photos on Facebook this morning, and my goodness, it's quite deep at this point in time. So the fence between our house and Mom's house is, I mean, literally there's about this much space left that you could see that's not covered in snow. It's just crazy. But that's winter for you out here. We've been pretty mild for the most part, but you know, it seems like February to April we kind of get nailed, and I can't believe it's the end of February already.
Yeah.
That's just,
well, you know, Katie, we got nailed here last week with snow. I looked out the window, and I could see the houses, you know, next door. You know, the little valley in the house. It had a little white down it. You know, It had some
Really?
white in it, and there wasn't any on the ground, but it was just enough to kind of cover a little valley on some of the houses. So that's our snow.
Right.
That's the snow that we got.
Well, when we were in at Orlando for Hamcation, Mark KJ4VO, the Atlanta store HRO manager, he was showing us videos that some of the guys from work were sending him and his wife were sending up there in Atlanta area where all the snow they were getting. And
Yeah.
like, geez, that looks like my neck of the woods with all of that coming down. So just crazy weather, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here in the New York City area, we've had virtually no snow. We've had
right.
it's been very wet but warm. We've had
Right.
lots of rain,
Yeah.
but virtually no snow. Usually we've had overall, close to 2 feet of snow in an average winter, but
Yeah.
virtually nothing so far. At this point, I hope we don't get any.
Yeah, no
Well,
kidding.
I like the snow, but Katie, when we went down to Orlando to Hamcation, it got really cold the day we left, and we had a snow here in Memphis. I think the day after we left, and we got about an inch. So we missed our big snow for the year. But I kind of like snow, but don't see it very often.
Well, not where you live, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, hey, I'm going to open up the phone lines a little bit toward the end of the show, I think, tonight. But let's go ahead and talk with Rich there about CQ, and I'm going to get out of the picture here, and I'm going to let you guys have it. And
All right.
let's just see what's coming up, okay?
Right. Where's the mouse? Before we get going anywhere, where's the mouse?
It's right over your left cheek.
There it goes.
There you go.
Where's the cat?
All right. Yeah, please keep an eye on the mouse, okay?
So, yeah, for any of you that are first timers, welcome. And some of the antics that we go through here on the show, we like to have fun because, of course, ham radio is fun, but it's always a weekly thing that, where's the mouse? Because it ends up being somewhere, usually on my face. But it's been fun. And so Rich is here tonight, W2VU from CQ Magazine. And Rich joins us the last Tuesday of the month as a general rule, assuming nothing else is happening. So welcome to the show this week, Rich. How is everything out at your neck of the woods?
Well, warm, but I'm enjoying it, actually. So we're taking advantage. I've actually been able to work on my front porch the last couple of days. It's been warm enough out there, so I'm definitely enjoying that.
Oh, I'm jealous. I've been shoveling mine off every day, sometimes multiple times a day. So it's the end of February, so that means it's time to talk about what's coming up in the March issue of CQ. So you get your piles of paper and ready to give us an update?
Yes, indeed.
All right.
I want to start off with a little thing that we've got hidden away in the middle of the magazine someplace, but I wanted to highlight. The Courage Handyham system has volunteers who read amateur radio magazines onto what used to be tape. It's onto digits now for visually impaired hams. And they're looking for a new volunteer or volunteers to read each issue of CQ for their reading program. Either one person to read through the whole magazine or a couple of different people, and they alternate articles or pages, things like that. So if anyone is interested in volunteering for that, we encourage you to contact Lucinda Moody at Handyhams. Her email address is real easy. It's lucinda.moody, M-O-D-D-Y, it's Alina, A-L-I-N-A, .com. That's their parent company's address. So it's lucinda.moody at Alpha Lima India November Alpha.com. On to the issue itself. March is a fun issue because it's in between specials and things like that. So we get to do all sorts of different things and have fun with different articles. Our lead article this month is on the folks at the University of Michigan Amateur Radio Club, W8UM, one of the oldest radio clubs in the country, in the world. They had a bunch of stuff fall into their laps. And this article is about what they did with it, how they turned it into something new and different, which is, of course, what hams have been doing for a century now. So it's called Refurbished, Donated, and Modified, Putting All the Pieces Together at W8UM. And they basically made a portable tower on a trailer that they can take to different places and put antennas up on for whatever they're doing. So that's really cool. But there's more to it than that. It's a really interesting article. We have the results of the 2019 CQ Worldwide RTDX contest, which is always very interesting to watch. The lack of sunspots doesn't seem to have bothered things too much. We had, let's see, just over 3,100 logs submitted and over 6,000 participants. Wow. So that's not bad for the bottom of the sunspot cycle.
That's for sure.
The next group of articles we really decided to have some fun with. Paul Signorelli, W0RW, is a frequent contributor with a lot of different articles and stuff. And we've got a short piece by him this month on a LoJack T-hunt. But he mentioned in an email that his mother had written for CQ back in the 50s or 60s. I forget exactly which. But she had written about transmitter hunting.
Oh, no kidding.
Among other things, yeah. So, we've been doing our CQ Classic series as part of our 75th anniversary celebration. And we dug up his mom's article, and it was called, let's see, Transmitter Hunt on VHF by Helen Signorelli, who was K6KUP. And she talks about, it was a really fun piece on hiding the transmitter in a drainage pipe or something like that in Los Angeles for the Hollywood freeway. So we've got those two. And as I was thinking about that, I was remembering one other mother and son pair who have written for Family Circle. It was about a time coming up on 50 years ago. I learned from Laurie when talking with him about this. When Laurie Margolis, who is her son, and G3UML, had a very highly publicized series of QSOs with King Hussein, who's JY1, during there was a crisis in Jordan, and most of the normal communications was cut off. So the only communications coming out of the country at the time was via the King, via ham radio, and most of it was being directed to Laurie Margolis, a 15-year-old at the time, in England. And he had the BBC over there recording stuff and things like that. So her article was about the mayhem in the house caused by all of this. And so, of course, then I had to go find one of Laurie's articles to run. And we did that, too. He had a piece in 1999 remembering JY1. It was right after the King became a silent key. And it was about his memories of his whole relationship on the air with King Hussein. So that was a very cool combination of stories. We had a lot of fun with that. We've got two Morse code related articles. Another one which is going to be very interesting. First one is called Learning Morse Code the Old-Fashioned Way by George Averill, K4EOR. And he talks about, this is going to be controversial, we know that. And he talks about learning Morse code by looking at it visually. He says, everybody says, I learned it this way and it was terrible. And he points out, but you learned it. So if other means aren't working for you and you want to learn the code, this is one way to do it. The next one is going to be even more interesting. It's by Dennis Lazar, W4DNN. He used to be our QRP editor a while ago. But he's also a naturopathic physician. And his article is on how CW can protect you from dementia. Very, very interesting piece on how it engages both your mind and your hands at the same time. So it has to be not hand-eye coordination so much as hand-ear coordination, hand-mind coordination, and that combination seems to be very helpful in stimulating good mental activity. So that's a really fascinating article. Anthony Luscre, K8ZT, who is our microcontrollers columnist, has an additional piece besides his microcontrollers column this month on ideas and resources for growing youth involvement in ham radio. This is something that has been a passion of his for a very long time, and he's got some really good ideas and resources there. Among our columns, well, Anthony's got 2 different projects with microcontrollers, and Joe Eisenberg, K0NEB, is building a QRP Guys DSB double sideband digital transceiver, which he's going to be using for FT8. And Gordon West, WB6NOA, has his short circuits column this month. He talks a little bit about Quartz Fest, but also about cleaning the winter out of your trapped antennas, whether it's a beam or a vertical. If your SWR is out of kilter after the winter's rain or snow or whatever you may be having, how to check to make sure the traps aren't full of water, which is frequently the case, and how to drain them and get everything working. He says, a lot of times people think that, I have to replace the traps because they're not working anymore. But when you can really just, if you can get the antenna down, open them up and drain the water out of them, let them dry, and poof, they're working again. So
Great.
Good stuff there. We've got a swap meet go bag by Wayne Yoshida and KH6WZ in his ham notebook. We talk a lot about go bags for emergency communications. Well, he's writing about what you should be taking with you to a ham fest, to a swap meet, to look at and to be able to check out things at the flea market to see if they're in the form that the person who's selling them tells you they are.
Neat.
Yeah. We've got
That actually sounds super handy. Yeah.
Yes, it does. Got a couple of basics. Every once in a while you got to get back to basics with stuff. And Ron Oshu, KO0Z, in our learning curve column, writes about the basics of lightning protection. And Thomas Hood, NW7US, our propagation editor, is giving us the basics of how radio signals propagate via the ionosphere. It's good to have a refresher every now and then, especially when they're not doing it as frequently as you might like them to. So, those are the highlights that I've pulled out for this issue. We've got a lot more, but I'll leave that to the readers to discover on their own. And
wow, that just
March, and we've got our annual Spring Fever subscription special. I can't speak. Subscription special going on. People will be getting the things in the mail, but it's already up on our website. Some significant savings on new or renewed subscriptions from our Spring Fever special. So good to check out if you're coming up for renewal sometime soon. You can save quite a bit. It's, of course, it's
good.
www.cq-amateur-radio.com.
Great. That sounds great, Rich. I'm looking forward to that issue, especially the stories that you said for the mother and son. That just sounds so interesting, and what a neat experience that entire family had. So sounds like a great issue as always. The cat just came in the shack. I'm wondering what's going on here.
Well, you better watch out for the mouse then.
I know.
Hey, we have a question from the UK. Can you get CQ in the UK?
The digital edition.
Oh, I mentioned to him he could probably get the digital edition. Addiction, not addiction.
It is an addiction, though.
Yeah, yeah. I'm on cold medicine right now, so I'm not thinking very well. Okay.
That's great. Well, thank you as always, and we look forward to your monthly reports. And assuming all goes well, we'll see you here the end of March.
Yep, I'm looking forward to. We're just wrapping up the April issue now. That's also going to be a lot of fun. We've got not only Professor Heiseluft, who is in every April issue. We have 2 Professor Heiseluft articles, and one from his predecessor, Professor Jerzy Osterman-Tor. Those 2 will be our classic articles, as well as a current Professor Heiseluft article. So always something to look forward to in April.
Absolutely. April issues are always super fun. All right. Thanks so much, Rich. 7-3.
7:30. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right. Well, that was great. And looking forward to my CQ every month. Always some good articles in there.
Sounds good. Yeah,
So-
that sounds like a fun issue. I'm looking forward to it for sure.
So, Katie, you got any other thing planned? Any other trips planned for Hamfest or anything?
Well, we
In the
went to
near future?
Hamfest this past weekend in Rapid City. It was really a swap fest. Bill, who is always here in the chat room, KE7KK, fortunately reminded me of it. And we, myself and Dwayne and my mom, we all went over. And it was actually really a lot of fun. It was nice to meet some people in real life. There's a couple of hams that I've talked to when I've run our Wyoming Pony Express net on Sunday mornings when I'm net control, or just hear them on the other Sundays that I'm checking in. But so to actually meet them in person was really a lot of fun. And then a couple other hams that I knew that from the other part of Wyoming that were way over there in Rapid City. And so that was really kind of nice. And, it just made me, it's one of those things that, we went to the Swap Fest knowing there probably wasn't anything we were going to need or buy. It really just went for the personal, or what's the word I'm looking for? The camaraderie. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was totally worth it. It was, we just went for a short time and took care of a couple errands, but it was a lot of fun, and came home, and just about the time we got back, the snow started. So worked out really well. But other than that, I don't think I have any other, don't have any other trips for work coming up soon. Just already working on thinking about Hamvention.
Yep, and we'll be there. It's not going to be too long until we head that way.
I know. Time's going so fast. It's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah, it will. Okay, well, guys, stand by. We'll be right back in just a minute here. Let's see. What can I do here? Yeah.
Get out and be active with ICOM's new IC705 and its optional multifunction backpack. The IC705 is your perfect QRP companion that has base station features and functionality at the tip of your fingers. It's a portable package covering HF 6 meters, 2 meters, and 70 centimeters. This compact rig weighs in at just over 2 pounds. It has RF direct sampling for most of the HF band and IF sampling for frequencies above 25 megahertz. It also has a large 4.3-inch color touchscreen with a live band scope and waterfall. Other features include 5 watts with the BP272, 10 watts with 13.8 volts DC. It also has sideband CW AM FM as well as full D-Star functionality. It has a micro USB connector and Bluetooth capability, integrated GPS with antenna and a GPS logger. It has a micro SD card slot. The speaker microphone comes standard, and it supports QRP operations. The perfect accessory for the IC705 is the optional backpack, the LC192, with a special compartment for your IC705, and it has room for accessories for soda, activations, or just a day in a park. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM radios.
LDG Electronics provides state-of-the-art antenna tuners for every amateur need. From QRP to QRO, fixed stations, portable and remote, an LDG tuner will match your radio to your antenna using our lightning-fast, proprietary tuning algorithms. LDG is a family-owned and operated company dedicated to bringing innovative, quality products to the amateur market. All LDG products carry a full 2-year warranty that is fully transferable. Support is only a phone call or email away. We're always here to help you. Visit us on the web at ldgelectronics.com.
All right, guys. You know, we've talked a lot about our balloons lately. We're going to be launching another balloon here soon. We went with a really high-end balloon, the SBS-13. It's about a $200 balloon, and we were going for the long duration. But we ran into, I think, a storm when we hit Africa. We lost it a few weeks ago when we hit Africa. So you never can tell what Mother Nature is going to do to you in these balloon launches. So anyway, we're going to get ready to do some more balloon launches. Now, I've got one tracker here ready to go. It's a little heavy, and we're going to be using party balloons this time. If you guys remember, our first balloon launch was a single party balloon, and we made it 14,000 miles in 14 days, and we crashed in east of Japan when we hit a storm. Storms will kill us. So I've got another tracker here that we're gonna fly. This is one of the QRP Labs trackers. It's quite heavy. It's like 12 grams or something, and by the time I get the solar cells and everything on it, it's going to be 20 grams, so it's pretty heavy. That's the APRS antenna right there. So that's pretty heavy, but it'll have whisper and APRS on it. We're going to fly two 3-foot party balloons with it. Now, because of the heavy payload, we're going to use hydrogen, and we probably won't get more than about 24,000 feet in altitude. We'd like to fly higher. We'd love to fly at 41 to 45,000, try to get over the storms, but we're not going to be able to do it with the party balloons and that weight. Now, one of the things that, and we'll be flying that, and the party balloon is capable of going around the world. In fact, in a minute we're going to talk with Edward, and he sent a party balloon, I think, around the world, and it went around 7 times. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But we're building his tracker. His tracker is 1.5 grams. This is GPS and a whisper transmitter. You can see the difference in size. This is a QRP Labs. This is the new tracker I'm building. And again, if you have tuned in the show, you know I've been talking about how difficult it is building it. And if you want to see how difficult it is building it, here's the parts we're using. If you look at the tip of those tweezers, those are ESD tweezers made for working on some very small surface mount. If you look at the very, very end of that tweezer, you can see one of the capacitors that I'm having solder in. And we're soldering all this under a microscope to build the whisper transmitter, and it has GPS and the whisper transmitter. So it's very, very small. You could put 2 of these parts on the back of a flea, and you would still have room to put a backpack on that flea, let me tell you. Here's another aspect to help you understand the size of that part. That is actually a sewing needle, not a pin, but it's a needle, pretty small needle. And if you look at the very end of the needle, you can see the part. And that's the size parts that we're trying to build this tracker with. So you can see it does have some difficulty in the construction of it, but we'll get there eventually. So our plan is maybe in a few months to launch some of these trackers, and maybe on a 3-foot party balloon. Go cheap. Inexpensive, and see if we can make it around the world 5, 6, or 7 times. But then I want to go back and try, a high-end balloon like the SBS-13 balloon that we flew last time and we lost it. The SBS-13 looks like this, and that balloon has the capability to go a lot longer, 5, 6, 7 months. I think some of those balloons have been up 735 days. So, we're going to go inexpensive and circle the world, and then we're going to go kind of expensive, and we're going to try to do a long duration. So anyway, I'm talking here with, and I'm going to bring in a clip that I just talked with Eduard YO3ICT. He's in Bucharest, Romania, and Eduard is the person that designed this board and the circuitry, and has successfully flown it. And he's provided me all the schematics and the information, and I had boards made. I had 15 boards made where we can actually, produce these things. The problem is it's going to probably take me 100 hours to build this thing. So we're going to talk with Eduard in Romania about his background and his balloon flights. So let's see if I can bring the video in here with Eduard. Hey guys, I am so pleased tonight. We've got Eduard on, YO3ICT from Bucharest, Romania. Now, Eduard is the guy that's been trying to convince me I can build this teeny-weeny balloon tracker. And I'm trying. I'm giving it a good old college try, but man, it is difficult. We're going to be talking to him just a second, but I mean, this is his tracker, man. You believe that? I mean, even with a microscope, it's, I don't know. Anyway, let's bring Eduard in here from Romania. I know there's a big time difference between the show and where he is here, probably a bunch of hours. Let's see, Eduard, how you doing, man?
Hi, Tom. Nice to see you.
Man, this is our first time meeting, and I'm really happy to be able to talk to the genius that designed and built this little tracker here. And you must have very, very small fingers or something, because
not really. I only have the right tools.
Yeah.
The right tools and the right amount of time to be able to solder those tiny weeny
yeah.
little boards.
I'm gonna let me see if I can bring you. Let me see if I can bring you in split. I'm gonna bring you in split screen right here. Let's try this.
Yeah.
This
to
this
get
made it.
one of these trackers to be able to fly, I think it took me about a day, including board assembly, solar panel assembly that is very, very tedious to work with, and the antenna, which is also a pain.
So it took you a day to build this?
This and all the extras around it.
Wow. Now, the secret here, flying balloons, and what I've learned flying balloons, the secret is to make the weight as low as possible.
Yes.
And your tracker here weighs about 1.5 grams. And I'm sure that's better for small balloons, right? I mean, if we're flying a big SBS-13 balloon, I'm sure you can fly a much bigger payload. But the secret here is the small size. Hey, let's talk for a minute about you. What's your background, and what type of work do you do?
Yes, so I'm an engineer. I'm currently with Microchip. That's you must be familiar with it. It's an American company. I work in the Bucharest R&D center, and my job has nothing to do at all with balloons.
Okay.
I'm in the department in a small team that handles the behavioral modeling of some of our chips, including SMPS stuff, and also linear regulators, and all that bunch of stuff, from very simple chips, very simple functions, to more complicated ones.
So are you active in ham radio, or mostly just balloon flights? What's your hobby right now?
I'm regularly active. I started in 2009, if I recall correctly. I've been on and off different periods because of the college and so on. Currently, I'm done with my 80-meter DXCC.
Wow.
It took me a whopping 43 days.
Oh, wow.
43 days to get 1 to 100 confirmed on the logbook of the world. You can imagine. I just put a sloper on the last day of 2019 on New Year's Eve.
Well, congratulations, man. That's a big achievement that you did. And let me just say this: I've been a ham for 54 years, and I don't have DXCC. I don't even have worked all state certificate. I don't have any certificates. I never went to get a certificate. I think I have probably worked DXCC, but I have no proof.
Yes. I'm not looking specifically for awards or something like that, but it's nice to have an end goal. It motivates me to work towards that target and to be happy when I finally achieve it.
All right. So let's talk about some of your balloon launches. You got interested in ballooning a while back. You've had a few successful launches, and you've really spent a lot of time designing the perfect tracker. And this is whisper only. It's not APRS, but tell us why you chose. Tell us a little about your balloons in the past, and then let's talk about why you chose whisper only.
Yeah. At core, let's say I'm very interested in all things space, okay? But this is the easiest and the closest we can get as regular individuals. The first experiments actually date a while back in 2012. When I first come up with a topic that was called the solar balloon. Basically, just put together a handful of trash bags, the black ones, fill them with regular air, and because of the solar heating, they will become buoyant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my first flight was just that, and you won't believe my first payload.
What was it?
A steel washer.
A steel washer.
Yeah.
How far did the garbage bag balloon go?
I don't have any idea. At that time, I didn't had any electronic.
Yeah.
Underneath the balloon.
You
but
know,
I just kept working on it, and the second one was probably one that I won't forget ever.
Oh.
It was also a black solar balloon, but it had a simple beeping beacon within the 2 meters band.
Uh-huh.
Dead bug style was the assembly. We didn't have any positioning system on it, but that particular day was not entirely sunny. So when the clouds came up, the balloon descended.
Yeah.
So it eventually descended back to the ground, and we were able to recover it.
Well, that's
So
cool.
I don't think many guys can talk about a balloon flight that was recovered without any GPS system on board.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, the solar balloon. I've read about that. I wanted to try that. I might try that just to see how it works. Now, did you how did you seal the bag up? Did you heat seal it, or how did you seal it?
No, those bags are not sealed. There is a hole at the bottom, and it communicates with the outside world.
Okay.
Basically, it regulates the pressure.
Okay. So did the washer help hold the bottom down? Is that the function of the washer?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You cannot fly those kind of balloons without any payload.
Oh, okay. I was thinking about taking the garbage bag and put air in it and just seal it. You know, like heat seal it and then let it heat up.
It will pop fairly quickly.
Is that right? Wow. Okay. All right. So then you got into sending balloons around the world.
Before that, I started with that RITI stuff. So I was collaborating with a handful of guys back in 2014. I got some boards made, but I never got to flew them because I didn't have the GPS. Because you know, $15 or $20, which was the price back then, is a bit high for someone in Eastern Europe.
Well, yeah, and you know, hey, even in building your tracker here, the most expensive part on here is the GPS system for me, and I think it was $21 or $24 is what I paid for just the GPS.
Yeah. My first actual foil launch had a tracker from a Polish ham, from Tom SP9UOB that landed me the tracker. It flew very, very nicely. I did recover it, but this was the only flight from 2014 up to 2019 in March, where I did launch it again. This time I also had a small camera beneath it. Unfortunately, I lost the payload. It crossed the border. It landed in Bulgaria. I went the next day to look after it, but there was nowhere to be found.
Mm-hmm.
But by this time, I also had the GPS modules for my other boards, and I quickly assembled one of them. Did some testing, and one week later, I was flying again. This was also lost. It drifted all the way to Ukraine, and I lost it as well. And from now on, I only concentrated on doing some long distance flights. You see, the whole point of trying to develop my own system is to lower costs. Right. Okay, so I looked countless times at the SBS 12 and SBS 13 balloons. I think I could have got the funds, but only for one launch. Right. And also the payload mass of anything that's on the market, even today, it's not even comparable to what I was able to do.
Yeah, you know, the tracker, I think Bill Brown's tracker is about, I think he says 9 grams or something. This looks awful, but this is the QRP Labs tracker. And look at that supercapacitor. The supercapacitor weighs 5 grams. I think the board there weighs about 12 grams. And then if you put a protected UV cell on there, that's another 5 grams. So, you know, our last launch with the antenna, our last launch was almost 27 grams, which was very high. And, but it was a big balloon, the SBS 13 and 27 grams. But boy, I tell you, if you had an SBS 13 and you had this on there, I think it would go forever, man.
I know. This was the whole reason trying to develop it, having as tiny components as possible. Squeeze every liter gram. I even filed down the board corners just to squeeze that 0.1 grams from it.
Man.
So this tracker flew 3 times last year. The first flight had a single balloon with helium, and it went halfway around.
Mm-hmm.
It got caught in a bad storm near the Aleutian Islands.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's the correct spelling.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the Pacific. The second one, it was a bit rushed from my side. So I was able to launch these 3 flights 3 weeks apart from each other, which is impressive given the fact that the tracker was not that expensive, and the balloon was fairly cheap.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have launched once every 3 weeks with the SBS 13.
Oh yeah, that's very expensive.
Yeah, and the second one was a bit rushed. It was a dual balloon approach, also with helium. The balloons were not properly tested, were not properly stretched. So basically, what we are trying to achieve, it's with the same balloon envelope mass, we are trying to increase the internal volume. Okay, so the fixed amount of gas that we are putting in will have more room to expand.
Right.
Having more room to expand, the balloon will reach the equilibrium altitude a bit higher.
So
potentially far away from any storm systems or something like that.
So let me ask you a question there. I understand what you stretch the balloon, the gas has more room to expand, and that's using the cheap Chinese balloons we're talking about, a little 3-foot balloon, very inexpensive. Yeah. What about putting 2 balloons together and putting half the gas in one and half the gas in the other? Now, you would have more room to expand in the 2 balloons.
I did that. My second launch was a dual balloon. So basically, I don't remember the math from the top of my head right now, but this so you will feel each of the balloon to lift half the payload weight. Mm-hmm. Correct? Mm-hmm. And the remaining amount that you saved, that is equal to also half payload weight, you can squeeze it in as additional free lift.
Additional 3 grams lift?
Yeah, additional free lift.
So if you run two of the Chinese balloons, what do you think the free lift should be if we're using hydrogen? Is the free lift 4 too much?
Let me get to my third
to
my third launch. This was also a single balloon filled with helium. I will ask you to pull on the screen the last link that I've sent you on Facebook. It shows the trajectory and the map during the flight. So the payload mass was approximately 4 grams, and the free lift was about 7 grams. Okay, so I had 7 grams of free lift using hydrogen. So basically, if you're trying to have a dual balloon launch, also using hydrogen and using my trackers as the payload mass, let's say roughly 4 grams. I think you could increase the free lift by up to 9 grams total.
I have a picture. I think this is the link you're talking about.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So that's cool, man. Very cool.
So this was launched in July from Bucharest. It reached the equilibrium altitude, I think, several tens of meters short of 12,000. And it flew for 7.5 times around the globe, around the northern hemisphere.
Well, that's
So this is basically what you are also trying to shoot for.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So
Single balloon is much easier to handle and to launch. The payload mass is exceptionally low.
yeah.
You just need to have some hydrogen and a proper tested balloon.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question again. Free lift. I'm going to probably launch. I won't be able to launch your tracker yet because we're still in the process of building it. But I have a QRP Labs tracker here. I'd like to launch it, but it's heavy. It's going to be 20 grams. It's heavy. Mm-hmm. If I put that on a party balloon, 2 party balloons, what do you think I could expect in altitude, and how much free lift would I use in 2 party balloons, maybe, without destroying the balloons?
There's an Excel spreadsheet that can help us calculate all of this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I will send you a link. I will share it to you.
Okay.
But at payload weight of about 20 something grams, even with 2 party balloons, I would not expect much above 8,000 meters.
Uh-huh.
Which is fine, by the way. There were guys that did flights around the world even at 7,000. But it's all a lottery. It depends on the weather systems.
Yeah.
And how high are they located?
Yeah. Okay. So I know right now, and these balloons are designed to basically transmit during sunlight. And we're in the wintertime. Wintertime, we have low sun angles. So about how much time do you think per day does your tracker transmit? Maybe 4 hours?
I think so, yeah. Maybe 4 hours.
Yeah. Okay, so I would love to increase that. I don't know, but when we increase that, it adds weight.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't want to increase that. It's fine the way it is right now.
I don't know. I want two-way communications with my balloon. I want to be able to steer it. I want to be able to say turn right at China. Turn left at North Korea. You know, I want to be able to steer my balloon.
That will be an impressive feat.
Yeah, it will. Well, but I tell you what, I think you could design that. I think that you are capable of putting that together. It'd probably take you a week or two.
I don't know. So, if you spoke about two-way communications with the balloon, since the floater flights, I've been focusing more on local flights.
Yeah.
And I had 2 flights since both of them were recovered. But what I'm using right now, it's a system. It's a system that was initially developed by the UK colleagues, from the UK High Altitude Society, that uses cheap LoRa transceivers.
Yeah.
And we are just doing some sort of digital slow scan images with a camera outside the payload. So this is how it looks. This is what will fly. I got a permission between between 7 and 15 of March. This is the inside.
Mm-hmm.
There's a small computer that is sandwiched with a custom board of mine. It runs Linux. It's a Raspberry Pi Zero, how it is called. This is the U-Blocks GPS, same that exactly the same as you will be using. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the LoRa transceiver module. And this approach will also be able to accept two-way radio communications. Wow. So an uplink.
Yeah.
And maybe you are asking why. The reason why is that on the front here we got a little servo that pulls a steel pin through a hole, so the whole payload detaches from the balloon, and in this process it also releases the parachute. So if it ever gets outside of a predetermined area, I'm just making sure it will never cross the border again.
Okay.
And
so
this is the little tiny camera.
Yeah, and you can send a signal to it. You can release it. It'll drop by parachute, and you can recover.
I flew this similar configuration last time, mm-hmm. and it worked brilliantly. But this will fly again as it is. Mm-hmm. But for the next one, so what you are seeing here is a cheap radio sound enclosure. It's made from foam. I go out in the field. I try to recover those, but man, it took me 2 days to have all the foam cut out on the form of my payload. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking about the reusability and also upgradability in the future. So I came up with this. It's basically the same couple of boards sandwiched together with the battery holder. On the bottom there's a camera, and this whole enclosure is made with 3D printing technology.
Very nice.
The camera is on the other side, and this is the cap. Mm-hmm. That also has that little steel pin that is releasing the payload from the balloon at one particular moment. So this is just coming together. I can print this kind of stuff every day long without being necessary to cut into any gram of foam.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, very good. Well, look, as we close here on our discussion with you, do you have any comments or anything you can tell me where I can be more successful? This thing is awful tough for me to put together, man. Even with a microscope, it is tough. And in talking with you, I understand you have a little difficulty on some of the parts. So you got to be an expert, I think, to put this together.
Yeah. So I just start with the bottom. The bottom has the tiniest components. I mean the O4, O2s.
Uh-huh.
It's much easier if we do not solder anything on the top, because the board will lay flat on the table.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I noticed that. Yeah.
So I could try to have all of the bottom of the board done at once with inside an oven with some paste on each of the component pads.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of the components on the top, like the GPS and the microcontroller, I saw that you already managed just fine.
Well, look, and I want to show everybody out there that's watching. Look, see the tweezers? Look very closely. Look closely to the end of that tweezer. There's a capacitor on the end of that tweezer. And if you look at the blow up there, you can barely see it. That is how small these parts are. And your soldering iron, if you try to use a soldering iron, it looks like it's a baseball bat. So there you are, and hey, there's a picture of it there. There's the same capacitor right there, and that is a sewing needle. So guys, this is a pretty tough project, but people do it just like Edward does it. So I don't know. I'm going to keep trying and see if I can accomplish it.
Yeah, I had troubles too. See, this is one of the reasons that I didn't pursue the idea to make it commercially available.
Uh-huh. All right.
Because one is this difficulty in soldering, and the second one, it definitely won't be as easy to configure software-wise as the upcoming QRP Labs tracker.
Yeah. All right. Well, Edward, thank you so much for being with us tonight and sharing your story and talking about your little tracker here. And I sure hope I can make this thing work. I mean, I'm going to try my best, but I gave up. I quit 5 times, but I keep going back and I keep trying. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Sure. So again, thank you from Bucharest, Romania. This is Edward. This is YO3ICT, Edward in Romania, and boy, he's got a neat little deal here that we're trying to build. He's been successful, and he designed it, and he's flown it, and we want to also. Thank you so much. We'll have you back on again as we make progress with our balloons. All right, guys, that was Edward, YO3ICT. The guy is very sharp, and we're having really a hard time with this micro miniature stuff. You know, when I was in the Air Force, they sent me to a NASA micro miniature electronic soldering school. And they inspected our solder joints under a microscope and graded them. But it was nothing like today, you know. Back then, back in 1969, micro miniature was not so micro miniature like it is today. So it's nothing. There's no comparison between micro miniature back in '69 and micro miniature now. The question was, can you purchase a pre-assembled board from Edward? No, you can't. He has put the plans out on GitHub, and the plans are out there. He furnished me all the EagleCAD drawings and everything. I had boards made. I had printed circuit boards made at OSH Park. This is what they look like after they're made. That's the front and the back side. They cost $1 per board to have those boards made. I had 15 boards made, and there's only about $29 worth of parts that goes on that board to complete it. And one single part costs $24, and that's the GPS unit that goes on that board. So you got $6 in other parts. But you better buy some extras, because you'll be holding them on the tweezers and trying to solder them, and in the next minute it goes flip and it's gone, and you'll never find it again. So you need to order some extra parts, but they're probably a penny a piece. All right, well, you guys can see I'm still suffering from a cold. We got back into Florida last Sunday, and then by Monday coming home, I got a terrible cold. I think Kathy's got it pretty bad too, and we're trying to get over it right now. So at least we didn't get the coronavirus or whatever. It's just a cold. I'm going to put the phone number up, and we'll open the phone lines up if some people would like to call in. Let's put this up here. Yeah, we'll put it right there. If you'd like to call in and chat about anything, talk about ham radio, we can talk about it. And if you have, if you guys have any particular segments that you would like to present on the show, if you have some interesting projects, we'd love to have you on the show and present them. Let's see. Let me do something here. We've got numbers in about 65 countries, so you can, if you go to our website, if you go to the W5KUB website, and bring up your browser. Let's see. I'll show you how to find the international number. So, if you go to W5KUB and you click on contact up there at the top, if you click on contact, it will bring up a page and it says call into the live show. Click here for phone numbers. If you click there, it'll take you to this page, which gives you the phone number. And if you want the international numbers, you can just click here on international numbers, and you'll be able to see we have numbers in many, many countries. These are local numbers that you can call into and not be charged for calling into the show. So the phone number is on the screen. If somebody would like to call in, let me make sure that I'm listening for the phone to ring.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah, hey, we got somebody in here. Who's on the phone?
Hey, this is Dave, WB4NCT in Athens, Alabama.
Athens, hey, how you guys doing? Well, I know
Good,
you guys.
Doing good, Tom.
You guys launched your SBS balloon just a few days after we launched ours, and I think you had some bad luck too, didn't you?
We did, and I think Bill Brown's pretty well pronounced it DOA. Somewhere over the Atlantic, he said there was quite a few storms, I think, over the Atlantic the night that it flew. It really hit some good wind when it went up to about 35 to 40,000 feet and headed out about 100 miles an hour over the Atlantic. So, but he said there were some storms out there that he thinks that probably took it down. But we're still hoping, like your friend did after 95 days, maybe it'll show up one of these days.
Yeah. Well, you guys were going to try to have wspr on there, which is a benefit when it gets out over the ocean. But because of the wind, I think Bill couldn't launch the wspr antennas on the thing. So you guys didn't get much tracking. By the time you got it launched about, 1 or 2 o'clock, you only had maybe 2 hours of tracking, and I didn't see it get far out of Alabama. I'm sure it went on over the Atlantic somewhere.
It made it about two hours and went down sometime after that. Yeah.
Well, it got dark. It got dark in about 2 hours. I'm sure it was still going, and you probably made it halfway over the Atlantic. And a storm got it, and we think that's what happened to ours between the Azores and Africa. We think a storm got it, and we We were up at 41,000 feet, so it must have been a pretty high storm that took us down too. So that balloon, the SBS-13, you know, it's supposed to fly a long time, and that's why we went with that expensive balloon to try to get, you know, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. But as we've said, you can't play with Mother Nature. You know, you don't know what she's going to do.
That's correct, Tom. And we did the same thing, hoping we'd get a long flight out of it, and
Yeah.
put quite a bit of financial investment in it. And I'm not sure if we're willing to do that much again. We're looking at the Chinese balloons, and I was going to tell you about the one I just got yesterday, actually, in the mail from ZACTech.
Yeah.
ZACHTEK.
Yep.
Harry is over in Sweden, and he's got a new board out that he's only built 20 of them. And I got one of the first 20, and it was about $70 for the board, complete with the solar cells and everything. And so, but unfortunately, I got one that the GPS is not working. So I've been in communication with him tonight, and he's actually going to send me another board. He says he thinks he had a bad batch of, well, actually the GPS chip didn't get soldered correctly, and so. He's a really good guy to deal with. So if anybody wants to talk to Zach, or rather Harry at ZACTech, I'd encourage you to check him out too. He's another option for one of these trackers.
That GPS unit is very, very difficult to solder because the pads are underneath the bottom. And if you solder from the sides, it's very easy to make a little short. I don't know if you still have your board, but the GPS has a little silver metal cover on it. And it's got a little crack around it, and if you'll look, you might see a little solder bridge. That little crack around there that is only about the thickness of a sheet of paper. But I know in building this one, I'll get solder bridges there and I have to clear them. But Edward told me that the GPS is very difficult to mount. Well, I saw that.
Well,
I think that tracker weighs in about 12 grams or something like it. I put it on our Facebook page. Yeah,
it's a neat little board, and his idea of mounting the solar panels is pretty unique. The way he bends them, and for this time of year with the low angle sun, you can adjust the angle of those panels the way they kind of curve around, and so he'd flatten them out, of course, more during the summertime, and then have a little more curvature on them during the winter months. So. I'm not sure if we'll get this one off the ground or not. If it works, Bobby Fudge, KB2F, and I are kind of playing with this along, seeing what's going to happen next. But it's going to be like we're going to take the cheap route, if there is such a thing as a cheap route.
Yeah. Hey, now you guys used helium, I think, didn't you?
We did. Yeah. We didn't go with the hydrogen. I guess we were a little bit too afraid of that or whatever. But we found a good source for helium. We've got some guys, a guy that runs a welding supply service down in Hartsville, which is a few miles south of here. And he had some boys in one of his church groups that was interested in it. So we kind of worked out a deal with them, and so they kind of joined forces with us too to help out with the helium cost. Well,
that's great. And you know, the helium cost almost double, or more than double what hydrogen costs. Now, hydrogen will take you up about 2,000 feet more. But anyway, good luck on your next launch there. We're going to try a party balloon next. We can't try the big, expensive balloons every month, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's the same here. We're going to either go with the Chinese or the party balloons, and hope for the best. But good luck to you, Tom. Hope you get feeling better too. By the way.
Yeah. Okay, man. Thanks so much, man. Thanks for calling. Man.
All right. Enjoy the show.
All right. Hey, guys, give us a call, 712-775-7270. And for you guys that are getting sleepy out there, it's okay if you want to go to sleep, just go right ahead. We'll see if we get any more calls in here. We'll be starting to gear up for our Dayton Hamvention here probably in about a month, and we'll be going up there again. We'll be in the same place in Building 2 and probably do a marathon stream up there for about 50 hours like we did last time. We think most all of our donors of prizes are going to probably be with us again, so we'll have a lot of good prizes to give away. And we're only going to have one booth up there this year. Jason and Josh and the YouTubers are taking the booth to the side of us, so we're going to kind of have our booth and they're going to have the booth next to us, so we might be able to help each other out a little bit there. And if Jason or Josh can, man, get in front of the camera and take the microphone, it might give me an hour or two that I can get out and look around. All right, let's get a call in here, 712-775-7270. We had a great 40-meter net tonight. We had Mexico City check in. Oh, Teresa sent me a video. She posted it on our Facebook group. And I was surprised. You guys check my video out on our Facebook group. I was 60 over S9 at the club station down in Texas. So I never had a big signal before, but it put a big smile on my face to see that S meter hitting 60 over down in Texas tonight. Join our Facebook group if you hadn't joined. It's just called W5KUB. Looks like we're not getting any calls tonight. Some nights we'll have more than others. So we've got Dayton coming up in May. I think the Memphis Ham Fest is going to come up. I think it's in April. And then I see Mark in the chat room there, N4BCD. We can't wait to get to Huntsville. That's going to be in August, but it'll be here before you know it. All right, we're going to keep the phone lines open just a couple more minutes here, and then we're going to close it. We're going to shut down the show. And I'm probably going to go take some more medicine and see if I can get to be feeling a little bit better. This is where we were, looked like last week. We were kind of in an environment like this last week, and at the same time, some people were kind of in an environment like this. But we seem to have missed all the cold weather this year. It's been relatively warm. Yeah, the codeine will be good tonight, Spike. For you guys that maybe missed a picture last week, this is kind of what we're dealing with at the house. This is kind of a picture from a couple weeks ago, but besides coming home with a cold, we've got so much dust in the house. You can see the entire kitchen floor was taken up there. That generated a ton of dust. The entire house is full of dust. My radios are covered with dust, and I'm sure breathing that probably is not helping the sinuses any. We probably have about 6 or 7 more weeks of mass destruction going on here, but hopefully we'll be out of it soon. All right, while waiting on the call, we'll give you guys a different view. There we go. If you want to know what we kind of look like in our studio here, I'll kind of explain it to you. So here's our mixer board right here for all the different audios that are coming in, from Skype to phones to wireless mics in and out, and so that's our audio mixers right there. Over here, underneath here, we've got our wireless mic systems that are that we use, our lapel mics and our other handheld wireless mics. We can also use wired mics like our Heil mics, or like the Heil mic here that's plugged into the mixer. So this PC here is one we use to bring our remote people in. This is where Katie comes in. She'll come in on this PC here, and it runs some software that allows it to connect. I can bring the video then from this into our Wirecast encoder. Now, this PC here is our Wirecast encoder, and It's where we do all the scheduling of different camera shots and audio inputs and videos and things like that. And it lets us select, just a click of the mouse will let us select what camera we want or what video we want, what audio and so forth. So in lower thirds, so that's this is our encoder. This is where we transmit from. Over here we've got on this PC here we're running multiple things. We're running EdCast. EdCast is a IP protocol-based program that takes our audio to the shortwave station up in Monticello, Maine. So we're running EdCast there. So we feed our audio from here and from here into this PC to send it up to the radio station. In addition to this PC here, on this PC, on a second window, I have the YouTube dashboard running, so I can see the health of the network, and I can also see a number of people watching and so forth. And then on the top screen here, on top of this, I've got the chat room up where I can see what you guys are doing and talking about, and I can talk with you. It also has a program on it that will allow me to connect this screen into the webcast if I want to. Then we move on over to this PC over here, and this is just a general PC. I can run videos or files or pull up web pages. For instance, you saw me pull up my web page a minute ago. I can select it over here by a mouse click, and it will bring this PC in, and I can scroll through and you can see what I'm looking at on this PC. There's a big 35-inch monitor up on the screen there that I used to be able to see better. I've moved the studio. It was around to the side. So that's kind of what we got. We got our camera over here, our HD 4K camera over there. We've got a second camera over here that I can switch back and forth from various cameras, like this, like this. The program also allows me to, set up different camera shots any way I would like to set up various camera shots and different things. Green screen, blue screen, those kind of things. Let's see. Keyboards, lots of keyboards. I know everybody talks about my keyboards, but I kind of need my keyboards. I could use a KVM switch, but it's not practical. This keyboard gets me to the chat room, which I need just about all the time. This keyboard's not used that much, but it does operate the encoder. This keyboard here is for the Skype PC, and then this keyboard right here will allow me to, surf the internet or so forth over here. So I need several of these up at the same time, so I'm not able really to run a KVM switch right there. Let's see what else we got here. Four mices, 1, 2, 3, 4 mouses. And that's kind of where we are. Hey, we must have somebody on the phone. Who's on the phone? Somebody on the phone? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Who's on the phone?
This is AB5JM, Jim in Louisiana.
Hey, Jim. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Hey, good to hear you. Good to hear you.
I'm enjoying your show this evening.
Yeah, it's good to hear you on the net tonight, man. I hadn't heard you in a while.
Well, we've had very high noise levels here. I've been S6, S7, and very difficult to get through to you, Tom.
Yeah. Well, it was good to hear you tonight. The band was pretty good. We had some pileups coming in tonight. A little unusual, people checking in.
Yeah, hey, I got to ask you something.
Yeah.
That gravestone showing your balloon number 1. Is the balloon number 1 actually buried under it?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It went down. It was buried at sea. It went down in the Pacific Ocean east of Japan.
I thought that was hilarious when I saw it, however.
Yeah, so, well, that was our first balloon. We did really well with it. We went 14,000 miles in 14 days, but very sentimental. We missed it. We haven't been able to do better yet, but we're working on it.
Well, keep up the good work, and that's all I can say.
So how's your weather down there in Louisiana? Summertime yet?
Well, we've had plenty of rain and more to come, but the temperatures are up about in the 60s, so we're happy with that.
Yeah. Same here. We've had rain and it's been fairly warm. Of course, we've been traveling some with a little bit of a vacation and a hamcation, and man, I'm all tied up here. As I posted on my Facebook group, the ham radio group, that this remodeling of the house here is taking away a lot of my ham radio time. So I don't have a lot of time to do ham radio now until I can get all these carpenters and people out of here, you know. And the quicker I can get them out, probably the less money I'm going to spend.
Well, you're right there, Don.
Yeah.
The sooner the better.
Yeah.
And let me just say 7-3 and let you go.
Okay.
I appreciate the chance to say hi to you.
Okay, Jim. Well, thanks for calling. Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
All right. We'll take one more call. And then we'll close the show down for tonight. Again, if any of you guys want to volunteer your time to help out with the show and do a segment, we'll be glad to have you on here. We'll put you on here, bring you in by Skype, and we'll turn it over to you. All right, I see Nigel there, KG0PL over in the UK. Hello, Nigel. It's 3:23 in the morning over in the UK. You're staying up, man. You're staying up really late there. Hope you guys had a good tour of the. Well, let's see. This is interesting. Oh, hang on. We got a call coming in from England. Nigel.
Hey, okay, just let me cut the sound off the video.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Hey, Nigel. How you doing, man?
Oh, not so bad.
Now, well, okay. Now, Nigel, you don't have video on?
No, I'm in my gym jams, mate.
You're in your pajamas?
Yeah, I'm not going to put me.
All right, so we've got Nigel on here from the UK. It's 3:30 in the morning there, and he's in his pajamas, so he doesn't want to turn his camera on.
No, censored.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, how's it going over there, man?
Well, we've got too much liquid sunshine in the UK, Tom. All the flooding, the storms, everything coming from North America.
Yeah, well, you know,
Yeah.
hopefully our liquid sunshine will leave here. I'm a little. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too much rain and too much everything. So there you go. I could get dressed and slip some clothes on, but we'll just give you a quick call. Perhaps we'll arrange a sked sometime, Tom, and we'll do a chat, a longer chat.
Yeah, we can do that. And why are you up so late tonight, man? You just can't sleep?
Well, I've been writing along the email and bought some radio equipment off eBay, and some sellers over here use a rubbish courier service delivery company that pays on the Geek Harmony, and they're absolutely rubbish. And the eBay said they get too many complaints about them, not suitable for sending electronic goods anyway. So I bought a tri-band mobile aerial or whip antenna for 6'2" and 70 centimeters. And the guy wanted to use this company called My Hermes, and I said, nope. It will not get here. The people, they don't employ them directly. They're self-employed, and they're just rubbish. So I'm retired from the Royal Mail, which is like equivalent to the U.S. Postal Service. I prefer trust my old company rather than my these private companies.
Well, hey, I retired from FedEx. You could probably have that shipped, that aerial shipped by FedEx. It probably wouldn't cost but about $200.
Yeah, they're expensive, FedEx. Good service, but they're expensive. But I stick to the company I know. They've been doing it over nearly 500 years. So although they're privatized now, they're not state-owned anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. Well, we'll have to do, Tom. We'll have to have an interview, and whether we do it live or we do it off air at a more sensible time of the day.
Yeah, we can try to do that, and that's what I did with Edward tonight. We pre-recorded that because of the time difference. But I tell you, yeah, we'll get together sometime soon, Nigel. I am just so busy. I don't have hardly any 10 minutes free here the past month or two, and I don't know about the next month or two, but would be glad to have you on here and talk to you.
Yep, okay. Well, my US call for your listeners and your viewers is KG0PL, but over in the UK, it's Golf Zero Mike Echo Juliet. As an acronym there, go make everyone jealous.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so I've done local volunteer broadcast radio as well. I'm on a broadcast microphone here, Tom.
Okay.
So yeah, okay then, Tom. Nice to have a quick chat with you. But you keepers, drop me a line. You got my email address. Drop me a line, and we'll do it. Maybe in the afternoon, morning time when we're not so busy.
Sure, we can do that, Nigel. Thanks for calling, man.
No bother. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Well, we didn't get to see Nigel in his pajamas. Okay, guys, so we're going to go ahead and close the show down, man. Thanks to everybody for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you next week. Yeah. Okay. See you next week. Have a great week.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.